Old Trafford, the self-proclaimed theatre of dreams. Not much dreaming going on here at the moment. The harsh reality is that Manchester United, certainly in terms of points, are closer to the bottom of the Premier League than they are to the top. And some natives are getting restless. Just how many we may find out in the second half here this evening. Talk of protest and walkouts, mixed with calls for ongoing respect and remembrance for the victims of the 1958 Munich disaster. Mixed emotions 62 years on from the tragedy that in many ways shaped the unique personality of Manchester United. Manchester United will defend the Stretford end in the first half, playing from left to right as we look at it from our position in the main stand here. Wolverhampton Wanderers in all black with old gold stockings will kick off. Manchester United in their traditional red shirts and white shorts. Bruno Fernandes wearing a particularly pink, luminous pair of boots as Wolverhampton Wanderers get us underway. No need for introductions. These two meeting for the third time in the last month, the seventh time in the last 18 months. Never more than a goal in it in those 6 previous encounters. Only goal difference separates them at kick-off. Luke Shaw has the ball for Manchester United, midway inside the Wolves half. Almost presented it to Raul Jimenez. Harry Maguire, in his attempt to get to the ball first, seemed to catch Jimenez, but the on-field official, Paul Tierney, was well placed and waved play on. And Andreas Pereira can come forward for Manchester United. First touch for Bruno Fernandes, midway inside the Wolves half of the field, lays it off neatly to Mata. Pereira into Martial, trying to lay it off to Wan-Bissaka on the right hand side, and a barging challenge by Pereira is penalised. Wolves have a free kick midway inside their own half. Stuart Pearce, how have Manchester United set up?
Well, basically the back four as we expect, just in front of them Pereira and Fred, the two holders. Fernandes playing as a number 10 if you like, Mata on the right hand side, Martial down the middle with James on the left, as we would sort of led to believe before the game. This will be the lineup from them. A lot will be tasked of Fernandes to get on the ball, get turned and start supplying the front three.
Close encounters being the order of service between these two in recent weeks and months. They're as close as Naz and Demi. Neither in sparkling form. One Premier League win apiece since the turn of the year. Manchester United have lost 2 league games in a row for the first time this season. Wolves have lost 4 of their last 8. Shaw bringing Manchester United forward on their left. James just outside him is on the ball and running at the Wolves defence, trying to feed Martial, but it's played away by Bolly. Fred wins it back, but at the expense of a Wolves throw midway inside their own half. 80 games played between them already, these two. Neither running mega squads. In some senses the winter break can't come soon enough for some legs out there. Both teams do get a fortnight off after tonight. It's 0-0. We've had 2.5 minutes of play, and Wolves are coming forward with sights up to the halfway line, and Jota, his first touch is rather loose. It's seized upon by Lindelof, but Moutinho wins it back, and now Lindelof's out of position and Jota can break in behind him. About 20 metres from the corner flag on the left-hand side, bringing the ball infield and linking with Johnny. Jota gets it back, trying to peel away from Pereira, who was holding him. And Manchester United concede a free kick about 10 paces outside the penalty area, left of centre as Wolves look at it.
Yeah, the big head-to-head I'm looking at the moment is Shaw and Traore, how they get on against each other. Shaw will attempt to get forward and pull Traore back into his own half. In these early exchanges, Traore's just let him go and said, listen, I'm going to play half and half. When we get it, I'm in a good counter-attack position.
Free kick maybe 12 paces in from the left-hand touchline, maybe 12 paces outside the Manchester United penalty area. João Moutinho is standing over the ball, floats it in towards the far post where Lindelof wins it in the air, and it's hacked clear by Bruno Fernandes. Up towards the centre circle where Connor Cody waits almost alone. Edge of the centre circle, out to the right-hand side. First we've seen tonight of Adama Traore, who started on the right-hand side. Midway inside the Manchester United half, trying to run at Luke Shaw, gets into the dead ball line and finds across two. And Victor Lindelof had to come up with a clearance first sight of Adama Traore very encouraging for Wolves.
Yeah, it certainly is. I've been really impressed with the improvement of Traore's crossing ability. He's almost like an old-fashioned, and I know I can talk to you, Clive, about old-fashioned. He's got the ability to get to the touchline and wrap his foot round things and deliver great crosses into the box, which he did on that occasion.
No idea what you're talking about. 4 minutes of the game gone. Wolverhampton Wanderers have a corner kick on the right-hand side. Towering figure of Willy Bolly now adding to their air forces toward Jimenez. Breaks awkwardly in a hook shot on the turn by Romain Saiss. Is way over the crossbar and into the Stretford end. And Manchester United have a goal kick. Goal kick which David De Gea, making his 300th Premier League appearance for the club, will take from beneath the Stretford end. And immediately Manchester United, as they did throughout a pretty tumultuous start, a torrid start at City on Wednesday, will try to continue to play the ball out. It's very much a style, a mark that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has put on the team. No long balls. They want to play their way out. They play their way into trouble. Pereira's lost the ball, and Wolves come forward midway inside the Manchester United halfway. Jota, he's now inside the penalty area. He fronts up Lindelof, who does just about enough, and the ball rolls tamely through to De Gea, who quickly bowls it out. And Bruno Fernandes can stretch his legs and move up to the halfway line. Checks and assesses the options. Comes square to Pereira. Pereira has Wan-Bissaka beyond him, midway inside the Wolves half. Now to Wan-Bissaka, just inside from the touchline. Bruno Fernandes plays another simple pass to Pereira. He exchanges passes with Mata. It's all the way back now inside the centre circle with the Manchester United skipper Harry Maguire. Out to the left-hand side where Shaw can now scamper forward. He's midway inside the Wolves half. Feeds Martial with his back to goal. Plays it back out to Shaw in a crossing position down by the corner flag on the left-hand side. Martial once more. Little 1-2 there with Shaw, doesn't come off. It's played out of harm's way by Wolverhampton Wanderers, but Maguire recovers possession for Manchester United inside his own half.
I think, Clive, it will be important that Moutinho and Neves cover the pitch and cover the back three and make sure they slide across when Shaw gets forward. On the other side of that, Fred on 2 occasions now has come across and dispossessed Traore.
Manchester United have the ball with the recalled Juan Mata. Plays it back to Lindelof just inside his own half on the right hand side. He goes square to Maguire. Wolves with 11 men back goal side as Maguire rolls one forward to Pereira on the halfway line. No press from Wolves. Mata plays it square to Fred, but it's well intercepted, well seen. Alert play by Cody. Jimenez early forward trying to get Traore on his way. He was actually dragged back there momentarily by Shaw, but unseen by the referee, and despite the protests of Ruben Neves, play goes on. Traore is actually looking inquiringly too in the direction of the referee, because Shaw did have a little tug at it.
The one thing, Clive, when people ask me about a counter-attack team, a good counter-attack team are the ones that drop back into areas that, when on turnover of possession, are in great positions to receive the ball, like we've got Traore at this stage. He's just come about 10-15 yards into his own half, trying to tempt the centre halves out to mark him to create space.
Bruno Fernandes has the ball for Manchester United. Goes back to Pereira before receiving the ball again. Plays an astute pass into Mata. Exchanges pass with Martial. Bruno Fernandes goes on into the box looking for the dinked pass from Mata, but it's slightly sliced, and Rui Patricio is able to come and claim the ball and bowl it out to the right hand side, and Matt Doherty, he is impeded by Shaw. This is definitely a foul and definitely a free kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers, about 5 paces inside their own half of the field. Wolves just want to score first tonight. They want to see what happens if they score first. They've pretty much forgotten. They've conceded first in 9 of their last 10 games. The only exception to that was the goalless draw here in the Cup last month. Wolves haven't scored first in a match for 6 weeks. Jota combining with Johnny and winning a throw-in down by the corner flag on the left-hand side, and Wolves have attacked with some promise and some threat already in this game. They have a throw-in about 10 paces from the corner flag on the left-hand side, which Jimenez will leave for Johnny Otto to take. The left wing back into Jimenez. Now Johnny again, played back to Moutinho, who goes all the way back. So the deep-lying centre-back Connor Cody midway inside his own half of the field, almost as if they're trying to draw Manchester United out. Cody short to Bolly, now forward down the right hand touchline to Neves. He comes back in field to Moutinho. Wolves very, very comfortable in possession, very comfortable with the shape of their side. It's so familiar to them now. Saiss going forward, trying to get Johnny forward on his way, but good cover from Lindelof, who rolls the ball back to David De Gea. We've had 9 minutes at Old Trafford in the third of our live Premier League commentary matches here on Game Day on TalkSport, and it's Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Bruno Fernandes making his debut for Manchester United in an attacking midfield role in a 4-2-3-1. Jimenez has the ball though for Wolves, midway inside the Manchester United half of the field. Good badgering play by Fred, wins the ball back, but only for Moutinho. Neves rolls it into the path of Doherty, just outside the penalty area. Now out to Traore in a crossing position, just outside the penalty area. Wolves right, confronted by Shaw. His cross is charged down by Fred, and Manchester United can bring it away with James. Up towards Bruno Fernandes. Now Martial is tripped by Willy Bolly about 10 paces inside his own half of the field. Manchester United have a free kick, which is taken too quickly with a rolling ball, and the free kick has to be retaken. But Manchester United trying to get on with it. Bruno Fernandes with another astute pass, and this time Mata is brought down by Romain Saiss, and a free kick to Manchester United just outside the centre circle. But the first glimpses we've had of Bruno Fernandes, Stuart Pearce, he looks good use of the ball, an early pass for the ball.
Yeah, he has, and his movement's been good as well. He's operating in behind Martial at the front, but he's looking for space, he's looking for little bump passes, but not at this stage been able to do anything significant within the game.
Still 0-0 at Old Trafford. Wolves finding a way out with Johnny winning the throw-in just inside the Manchester United half of the field. Nuno Espirito Santo prowling the touchline. He's actually had 9 days of recovery time with his squad for the first time outside the international breaks all season. And you know, I saw Wolves at Norwich just before Christmas after they'd had 6 days without a game in mid-December, and they were oddly sluggish and off the pace until the closing stages of that match. But they were outstanding in the defeat to Liverpool a week last Thursday in their last outing. They played well enough to win a lot of Premier League games that night.
I'll be interested to know, Clive, with this break coming up, what the break actually looks like to each individual club. You know, are they going to utilise it and just say, look, go and take a week off, go wherever you want as a group together or individually? What it actually looks like. There's been a lot said about it, and bear in mind you could have a slight hamstring injury and be out for that length of time.
Well, Manchester United have got 16 clear days after this game. Wolves have got 13. Wolves are in possession with Bolly just outside his own penalty area. Cody, who plays so deep, he was actually put under pressure there by Anthony Martial, and an error was forced, and Manchester United have a throw in. You're listening to Manchester United 0, Wolves 0 on TalkSport with Now TV. You can watch this match live with a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass for a one-off payment of $9.99.
I think United are going away collectively, did I hear? They were talking about potentially going Middle East, I think. I don't know.
A few nights on the pop in Mallorca? No, probably not.
No, I think we're going back to the 1970s there, my friend.
Halfway line, Wolverhampton Wanderers coming forward, halted by Wan-Bissaka, but Johnny has the ball back, and Moutinho all the way back to Saiss, midway inside his own half of the field. Wolves in possession with Cody to Bolly, tossed high forward towards Traore, headed away by Shaw, but quickly returned by Doherty, and Traore can run at Manchester United and sweep away from Maguire and find a cross again, and the stooping header from Jota, a brave header, because both Lindelof and Wan-Bissaka were trying to hook the ball clear with their feet, and Jota got to the ball but couldn't get any force on it. It was an easy take for De Gea. Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. Martial on the ball midway inside the Wolves half of the field, right hand side, controls it well under pressure from Saiss, and then slips and loses possession. Pereira slides in and wins it back, and then a lusty challenge between Portuguese international teammates Moutinho and Bruno Fernandes, which has left Moutinho on the floor and in need of some assistance. Wolves have the ball, but they're not aware of Moutinho's injury, and they played on for a while. Now play has stopped because it's out of play, And João Moutinho, who's 33 now but rarely misses a game or indeed a pass, is down and is holding his right knee. Whether it was a clash of knees, which can be very painful with Bruno Fernandes, we're just about to see a replay. Pereira slid in and then Bruno Fernandes slid in.
Yeah, it can be quite sore just on the side of the knee where he took it there, took the blow. Just going back to Traore once again, that's the second time he's been down the wing, and you think he's overrun the ball, and he's got this enviable ability to get his foot round the ball and deliver across when you think all's lost.
He's really unique. I mean, Alain Saint-Maximin at Newcastle is maybe the closest clone in the wonderful world of the Premier League, with all its admirable team players, but individual, incomparable talents that defy tactics and strategy and make devout defenders like you really think about how you're going to handle them. I mean, if you were playing against Traore, playing against Wolves today, you'd be thinking about it for 3 or 4 days beforehand, wouldn't you, Stuart?
I think all good players must be thinking about the opposition, the head-to-head that they've got on any given day, and certainly when you play against him, you know he's on good form at the moment. His particular strengths, his power, his acceleration off the mark's quite intense. You've got to deny him the ball. That is the absolute key to playing against him at the moment.
Who are the sort of off-the-cuff, off-the-wall opponents who pose a different problem for you in your playing days, Stuart?
It's anyone with any pace, and seeing we're in this stadium, Kanchelskis, you know, he was the one, out-and-out blistering pace. You had to deny the ball to his feet, because once they get momentum and run at you, they're the governors. So in games like this, if you're sure, you're looking to deny the ball coming into the feet of Traore and just covering any runs in behind.
The voice of Stuart Pearce. We're live on TalkSport with Clive Tilsley at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. 15 minutes played here at Old Trafford. João Moutinho has had some treatment and is back out on the field. And Manchester United are coming forward with Andreas Pereira, looking for a diagonal towards Daniel James, whose pace gets him to the ball first, but the strength of Matt Doherty runs James off the ball, and Doherty can clear. And here is Traore midway inside his own half. Shaw has a little nibble at him, but Traore manages to retain possession. Moutinho onto Johnny, up to the halfway line. Traore is actually down, having been caught. And I think he just lost his boot, actually. I don't think he's in any great pain. Manchester United coming forward with Bruno Fernandes. His pass is cut out by Ruben Neves, but he gets it back from Shaw. Fernandes to Shaw again. Martial back to Bruno Fernandes. Shaw once more. Little triangle forming about 10 metres outside the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes once again just tried a rather deft ball infield towards Martial, who managed to put Bowley under pressure to the extent that he's won a corner for Manchester United on the left-hand side.
Yeah, credit to Martial there. He didn't give up on a semi-lost cause and managed to just hook his foot round and buy the corner.
Corner kick on the Manchester United left, which brings Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof forward into the Wolverhampton Wanderers penalty area. Swung in by Pereira, but headed confidently clear by Conor Cody. Only as far as Luke Shaw. Square to Wan-Bissaka. Now Fred. Square again to Pereira. Wolves have kept everybody back as Fred goes wide out to the left-hand side and finds Mata. And now Bruno Fernandes combining well with teammates of whom he can only really have trained once, and a good combination on the edge of the penalty area. James finding Mata. Bowley does just about enough. Hit by Pereira, well struck at about 2 metres wide of Rui Patricio's right hand post. It came to him rather awkwardly. The contact was clean and pure, but the accuracy just wasn't there from Andreas Pereira.
Yeah, I think he needed to cut across the ball a little bit. The angle of trajectory, the ball coming at him, it just needed to cut across it, and probably, as you rightly mentioned, he's caught it too clean to get it goal bound. I'm just looking at United's corners as well. Harry Maguire rolled the clock back a year and a half to the World Cup in 2018. He looked as though every time he entered the box for a set play he'd score a goal, and that's disappeared, hasn't it? You know, he's hardly scored with his head, I think.
He scored one Manchester United goal at Tranmere last weekend, and it was a 25-yard blast. Traore is on the ball for Wolves, just outside the Manchester United penalty area. His cross is deflected behind, and it's a corner kick now for Wolverhampton Wanderers down at the Stretford end of the field. Wolves playing from right to left in this first half as we look on. It's Manchester United 0, Wolves 0 on TalkSport with Nissan commercial vehicles built to deliver. We've had just 18 and a half minutes play. Wolverhampton Wanderers corner from the right, which João Moutinho will take. Just assessing his options. before steering it long towards the back post. Fred is able to half volley the ball away with Doherty waiting behind him. Neves plays it back into the corner towards João Moutinho, and he has won another corner kick. Everybody back to their stations. Another Wolves corner from the right hand side. Bully really is a towering figure, 6 feet 5 inch Frenchman who does lend a very dangerous aerial presence to the Wolves team. His first appearance since breaking his ankle in a training accident in late October. The return of Willy Boly at the expense of Leander Dendoncker to the Wolves back three today. Just a delay while the referee has a word with one or two of the skirmishers around the penalty spot, awaiting this corner kick from the right hand side. It's João Moutinho again, plenty of height towards the head of Doherty, who wins it. It loops towards the goal, and De Gea made a pretty brave save actually by his post. Jimenez has won it back though dangerously. The referee has already stopped play. It's either a free kick or a goal kick to Manchester United, but the initial header from Doherty actually forced a pretty courageous piece of goalkeeping by De Gea.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I'm just looking at United's lineup there. It's Lindelof and Maguire, the two spare men in and around the 6-yard box, and they're tasking Shaw to mark Boly, which, you know, to be fair, and Fred to mark Doherty at the far post. A real mismatch, and if they can isolate those two in the head-to-heads, Wolves are going to have a lot of joy, I think.
Featherweight against a heavyweight. Remind me a couple of Frank Bruno's early fights. Here's James, midway inside the Wolves half of the field, out to the left-hand side, and Bruno Fernandes is a terrific pass, and James is just outside the penalty area with a chance to cross. Header away is by Cody, who always seems to be in the right place at the right time. Fred, though, has found Pereira. Now Wan-Bissaka just outside the penalty area. Andreas Pereira again hitting low this time. Cody couldn't really clear it. Martial attempted an overhead kick. There was some physical contact from his fellow countryman Boly, but no foul, and Boly unopposed is able to clear. Wonderful chest down on the halfway line, followed by a marvellous pass, both from Harry Maguire. It's Luke Shaw surging forward. Wasn't the best of passes from Martial. That's better from Mata. Played away by Cody under pressure. Fred keeps the heat on. Bruno Fernandes just outside the penalty area, right hand side. Played back to Juan Mata. He rolls it square to Fred. Back to Pereira. Manchester United with this rejigged midfield starting to find some fluency, and Bruno Fernandes is finding his place in that midfield. Mata again out to the right hand side, and Wan-Bissaka back to Pereira midway inside the Wolves half, comes square to Fred, played back to Maguire, trying to draw Wolverhampton Wanderers out, but they're very compact and very sound in the way that they're forcing Manchester United from side to side. Now Wan-Bissaka surges forward. Martial tries to turn, loses control of the ball. Neves is able to win it and clear his lines. Up towards Jimenez. Straight leg race now with Lindelof. Jimenez holds it up. 15 metres outside the penalty area. Sees Doherty in support. Now Neves, back to Doherty, to marvellous return pass. Doherty's low cross in towards Jimenez. Terrific defended by Lindelof, and then Maguire. Manchester United stretched, but they found answers to some very searching questions from Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Some fantastic interchange of pass there by Wolverhampton. You see why they're so good on the counter-attack. Every pass just was minimal a time in the air, directly to players or in front of them just to come onto. Fantastic play.
As a coach, as a manager, you probably think that every combination of arranging 10 outfield players on a rectangle of grass has been tried, and then along comes Chris Wilder with his version, along comes Pep Guardiola with 10 new mashups, then along comes Nuno Espirito Santo with the Wolverhampton mix, and they all ask new questions of opponents, all variations on a theme, and Wolves really have got this off to a tee now, this 3-4-3 formation. They work so well, and Neves has got Doherty cruising forward down the Wolves right again, midway inside the Manchester United half of the field. Back to Traore, of whom we haven't seen too much as yet. He comes back to Neves, and now Moutinho on the edge of the centre circle, and Wolves try their hand on the left hand side with Johnny. Back to Moutinho. Movement inside by Doherty creates space for Traore on the outside. Traore immediately confronted by two red shirts, comes back to Neves, and then all the way back to Boly on the halfway line. Now Cody, the last man as always for Wolverhampton Wanderers, goes square for Saiz, and all the way back to Rui Patricio. And I would think that both teams and both managers will be reasonably encouraged by what they've seen in the opening quarter of this game, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, I would say that's the case, Clive, but more importantly, probably Wolverhampton. I think, being the away team, I think they've had probably more play and look more threatening.
Traore on the edge of the Manchester United penalty area again. Held up by Fred. Finds a cross again, and it's another dangerous one. All the way through to Johnny Otto. They stood off him, and he actually had a shooting opportunity. Decided to cross it in the end. Fred picked it off on the edge of the penalty area, and Manchester United can break away. But it was actually Jota who found himself there in quite a lot of space just outside the penalty area. Didn't really have the conviction to make anything of it. It's currently Manchester United 0, Wolves 0 here at Old Trafford. For the latest odds, you can visit the Betfair Exchange, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where at the moment you can get Manchester United at 2.46. The draw is 3.35. Wolves to steal the point is also 3.35. That's on the Betfair Exchange. More ways to bet, more ways to win. You must be over 18, and do be aware of begambleaware.org, that website with all kinds of advice and helplines to help you enjoy your gambling. Manchester United have the ball just outside the penalty area. Shaw plays it in low. It's cut out though by Doherty and cleared only as far as Maguire, who's been a very imposing figure and goes for goal again. Well, he's got an absolute blinder at Prenton Park, Tranmere, last Sunday, and he fancies adding to his collection now at Old Trafford. He didn't strike that one quite so well, Stuart.
No, he certainly didn't. I think there wasn't enough mud on the pitch, maybe, to suit his capabilities. But important today, Shaw gets forward and keeps attempting to drag Traore back. If he goes and vacates that space, Fred's done it on occasion now. He's shuttled across and dealt with Traore. But Traore's a supply line, 3 crosses and 1 attempted cross that has resulted in a corner. If a Wolves goal's going to come, that's where it's coming from.
You know more about full-back play than just about anybody else I've ever sat next to at a match. It's a battle of wills, isn't it? How much you dare try to force the winger back to defend. The one thing Traore doesn't want to do here this evening. Wan-Bissaka has the ball, back to Mata. Wan-Bissaka on the touchline, feeds it into Bruno Fernandes just outside the Wolves penalty area. Moves the ball quickly, and it's broken off Johnny in front of the Wolves fans, who contest the fact that Manchester United have a throw-in taken by Wan-Bissaka to Bruno Fernandes. Now into Mata. Pereira's square. It was a lively ball which Fred couldn't control, and he just presents it to Cody, who plays one of those distinctive long diagonals forward towards Jota, and that's dealt with by Lindelof, and Manchester United come forward. It's quite an evenly matched game. We are 26 and a half minutes in. It's still Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. Mata on the ball for Manchester United. That's to Dan James, just outside the penalty area on the left-hand side. James crosses, charged down by Doherty. He'll get another opportunity, though, on the ball on that left-hand side. Exchanges passes with Mata. James again running at Doherty, who once again comes off better in that particular exchange, but he can't link with Traore. It's won back by Bruno Fernandes, who's very animated, always trying to indicate to his new teammates what he wants, where he thinks they should move, where he believes they should be passing the ball. He was the captain of Sporting in Lisbon, so he's a player of personality as well as talent. The new Manchester United number 18, Bruno Fernandes. He actually captained Sporting on Monday night in his last game. He did have a 2-week break from football over Christmas, which is the standard in Portugal, but he has played more than 30 games for club and country this season, so he's up to speed. Free kick to Manchester United, about 10 paces outside the penalty area. Rather clumsy challenge by Romain Saiz as Anthony Martial attempted to wheel away from him, and Bruno Fernandes has got a good shot on him too. It'd be interesting to see how quickly he gets involved in the Manchester United set pieces.
I think with United, I think their set-up play's been quite reasonable. It's been in and around 35 metres out, if you like. I would just like to see a little bit more proactivity from Martial up front. He always leaves me wanting more, if you like.
Free kick which Fred, the left-footed Fred, and the right-footed Bruno Fernandes is standing over. Probably 13 paces outside the penalty area, right of centre as Manchester United look at it. Bruno Fernandes is going to take it. He curls it in towards the far side, and it's a wayward one from the new signing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did make a comment this week that he wants a striker who wants to break his nose in order to score a goal. Of the strikers in the Premier League, if you were rating them on how much they want to break their nose to score a goal, where would you have Anthony Martial, Stuart?
I'm not sure too many want to break their nose given the choice, Clive, if I'm being honest with you, but we're talking about how Salah plays the game up front, always darting in behind, movement, being aggressive with his runs and hold-up play, and you'd want to see a little bit of Salah in Martial.
Jota has won a free kick here for Wolves, a debated free kick. Pereira wasn't sure that he should have been penalised. This one's only about 10 paces outside the Manchester United penalty area, and it's very, very central indeed. Pereira did just have a little nibble at Jota after he'd released the ball. It was a needless foul, clash of knees. Probably Wolves would like it to be one side or the other, just so there's a little bit more angle on it. The converse side of that is that David De Gea is not quite sure which side of his wall to stand. He set up three men who are standing on the edge of the D, which gives you an idea of how far out Wolves are. And inevitably they're two standing over the ball are Ruben Neves and João Moutinho. Ruben Neves setting himself up to shoot, and does shoot, and it's a shocker. And he rather got underneath it and ballooned it, and it arced way over David De Gea's crossbar. Ruben Neves is a lot better than that.
Yeah, he had plenty of room there to work on to get it up and down, but just put too much pace on it.
Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. The Six Nations Rugby Union Championship has started this weekend. I can give you a later score from Dublin. It's Ireland 13, Scotland 6. Wales had a big win over Italy earlier today in Cardiff. England play in Paris tomorrow. Another stoppage in play, another free kick, won by Martial, but this time 10 metres inside his own half of the field. Just to recap, Ireland 13, Scotland 6 is the latest score at the Aviva. It was a foul by Conor Cody on Anthony Martial. Manchester United starting this match in 6th place in the table, Wolves 8th, only goal difference separating them. Sheffield United moved ahead of the pair of them today into 5th place, but the reward for the winner of this game would be a return to 5th place in the Premier League, and if there was a winner in this game, they would move within 4 points of 4th place Chelsea, who've been beaten. Forward come Wolverhampton Wanderers, out to the right hand side where the wandering Diogo Jota has picked the ball up, played all the way back to Neves. I beg your pardon, Chelsea drew at Leicester today. There was so much action in that game. It was the lunchtime game, which we heard live with Sam and Trevor here on TalkSport. That was Leicester 2, Chelsea 2. Elsewhere in the 3 o'clock kick-off today, wins for Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Liverpool, Everton, and draws at Newcastle and West Ham. Traore on the ball for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Well challenged, very well timed challenge that by Maguire to win it back for Manchester United. Quickly up to Martial on the halfway line, held up by Bowley and dispossessed, and Anthony Martial hasn't got too many fans inside Old Trafford at the moment. A little lacklustre there. Bowley just wanted that a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, he did. As I say, he got good possession, and when his teammates are breaking beyond him, he was a bit careless with the ball.
Fred on the ball for Manchester United, just inside his own half. Threaded forward to Mata, picking up a more central position and sweeping it out to James, who can run at Doherty now, just outside the penalty area. Now just inside the box, squeezes in a ball which is deflected away from Mata and cleared by Neves, but one back by Lindelof on the halfway line, and Bruno Fernandes is on the ball and goes for goal himself, and he hit an arcing, swerving shot which was always just curling wide of Rui Patricio's left-hand post, but appreciative applause for the power that Bruno Fernandes got on the shot.
Yeah, if we're going back to Martial there, ball's gone out wide to James, and he ambles in the box. He's not proactive in a defined movement that's going to unhinge a defender. He probably doesn't realise that if he makes a defined movement, it frees space up for the likes of Mata and Fernandinho coming in behind.
He wears the number 9 shirt, but I think there's a feeling that perhaps, rather like Marcus Rashford, he's a little bit more comfortable attacking from a wider position, running at defences rather than being the target man with his back to goal, trying to hold up play and bring others into it. Anthony Martial, as always, in short sleeves but with gloves. Never quite understood that combination. Fred going forward is run off the ball by João Moutinho. Shaw has it back for Manchester United. Misplaced ball. Cody, though, finds Neves. Jota forward. It's a terrific pass, stunned into the path of Jimenez, and a really good break here for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Down inside the penalty area, under pressure from Wan-Bissaka, goes Johnny Otto. The referee finds in Manchester United's favour. It will be reviewed, I'm sure, although play is back in motion and Manchester United are coming forward. But Johnny got into a very promising position there, and Wan-Bissaka was touch tight with him and seemed to bowl him over. Rui Patricio has the ball for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Bowls it out to the right-hand side. Still 0-0 at Old Trafford. Doherty into Jimenez. Holds the ball up under pressure from Bruno Fernandes and plays it back to Bolly. Cody has it in the D on the edge of his own penalty area. Square to Says. Down this left-hand side to Johnny. Making progress over the halfway line, combining with Jota. Two exchange passes again, and Jota breaks infield this time and plays a terrific pass. And here's Adama Traore just inside the box, smashes one just wide David De Gea's left-hand post. That looked a good chance for Adama Traore.
Yeah, and the angle that we got there, we're looking for the net to ripple, to be fair. He's hit a straight drive, so he's not killed it round anyone, so you think he's got a direct trajectory to goal, but I got a feeling, missing by that far, he's ended up having a bad effort at goal eventually.
He hit it from just inside the penalty area, and we're actually getting an angle now from behind. It was always swerving away from De Gea's post. He tried to hit it with a bit of action from the outside of the boot, but that action was carrying it away rather than towards the target. But it was a sight of goal. It was another well-worked counter-attack by Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Manchester United are caught between the devil and the deep blue sea here a little bit, because they're at home, they're expected to make the game, they're expected to set the tempo and try to attack their opponents, but they are opponents who are particularly well set up to counter-attack on them. Bruno Fernandes has the ball on the halfway line for Manchester United. Out to Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. Pereira's got forward ahead of him. Wan-Bissaka can't break the challenge of Moutinho. Lofted into the path of Jota. Square to Jimenez. Looks for Traore wide on the right-hand side, but Traore has come in field. And so an aimless pass drifts harmlessly out down to the corner flag, where De Gea prevents it from actually going for a goal kick in order to keep the continuity of the game coming forward. And Harry Maguire can bring it up the field for Manchester United. Out to the left-hand side, and Luke Shaw just inside his own half of the field. Maguire again strolling forward for Manchester United into the centre circle. Out to Wan-Bissaka on this right-hand side. Now Lindelof on the halfway line. Forward to Bruno Fernandes. And progress is a little cautious, very considered. Neither side prepared to commit or overcommit. And so both teams are having to try to pick their way through the minefield of midfield. Shaw is on the ball for Manchester United. It's still goalless at Old Trafford. Lindelof inside the centre circle. Now just inside the Wolverhampton Wanderers half of the field. Square to Bruno Fernandes. Rolls one into Martial just outside the penalty area, but he's eased off the ball by Cody. Martial goes to the ground, but there's nothing doing for the Manchester United number 9. Cody was just stronger. Traore wins the ball just inside his own half. His pass is picked off by Fred. Chance for Andreas Pereira to come forward for Manchester United. Square to Bruno Fernandes. Out to this right-hand side of Wan-Bissaka. Midway inside the Wolves half, and again the black shirts cover, and Wan-Bissaka loses possession, and Wolverhampton Wanderers are able to break with Diogo Jota, but his pass is a little loose, and Maguire is able to intercept that, and Manchester United can come forward, and the game's a little bitty and untidy, just short of a bit of quality at the moment.
The difference between the two sides, Clive, is when Wolves get it, they go from back to front quite quick, not going direct, but they play through the thirds very quickly and directly. United are more slow and sluggish for their build-up, and Wolves look like the side that could hurt.
But Doherty's given the ball away to Fred. Now James on the edge to the penalty area. Clean challenge by Bowley. Breaks for Mata. Manchester United still on the attack. Pereira just on the corner of the penalty area, left-hand side, trying to work it onto his right foot and cross. Instead goes back to Fred. He plays it to Mata. He comes square to Wan-Bissaka. 10 paces outside the box. Forward to Martial. Now Wan-Bissaka again. The whistles are because Manchester United didn't get a decision 10 seconds or so ago, but they kept possession and they're still coming forward. Putting on the pressure, but it's not pressure with any real penetration as yet. Fred with a better pass into Mata. That's quickly ferried on now to Wan-Bissaka, who had a chance to cross. Instead looks to go on the outside of Johnny, who has his measure and jabs it out for a throw in.
This is probably typical. Wan-Bissaka's not got a trick in his locker. Fantastic one-on-one defender, but United at home have got no outlet in him. He's in a good position to receive, but he creates very, very little in these advanced areas.
Chance for Manchester United to come forward down the left-hand side with Pereira. Into Martial. Again, it struggles to hold the ball up, but Shaw is able to pick up the pieces and cross. And here's an opportunity. Bruno Fernandes! A really good shooting chance on the edge of the box, and he hit it straight at his Portuguese international teammate Rui Patricio, who made a pretty routine save. But this is better from Manchester United. Coming forward again. Dan James just outside the penalty area. Rolls it into Martial. Tries to set up Bruno Fernandes again, but this time there was a challenge as he looked to hit it. And his attempted shot was smothered really at source, but the original chance that he had was a good one, Stuart Pearce.
It certainly was. He caught it so cleanly. It was pulled back to the edge of the box. He come onto it, got an absolute cracking strike with his laces through it. Sadly for him, straight down the goalkeeper's throat, and he held it well. But Laura asked a question before the game, Clive. Why is he here? You know, why have they signed him? He's the only player in a United shirt to have a shot. Well, he's had 2 or 3 shots at goal. No one else has in this game so far for them.
It is a feature of his game. He's not shot shy, and scoring goals is a feature of his game. 15 for Sporting this season, 33 for his club last season. Bruno Fernandes, he is the penalty taker, but that only accounts for a fraction of the goals that he has scored. Adama Traore has won a throw-in for Wolves. 10 paces inside their own half of the field. His key stats this season: Bruno Fernandes, 15 goals, 11 yellow cards and 1 red card, and that is another side to his game. Rather fiery temperament. We haven't seen any evidence of that yet in the opening 41 minutes here at Old Trafford, where it's Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, live on game day on TalkSport. Listening to Clive Tilsey and Stuart Pearce in the main stand at Old Trafford. Wolverhampton Wanderers attacking the Stretford end, playing from right to left as we look at it, but Jota loses out to Maguire. Mata plays it to Bruno Fernandes, and back almost on the centre spot to Fred. I did read somewhere this week that the correct pronunciation of his name is Fredge. Yeah, too late, I'm afraid. F-R-E-D spells Fred in England. Throw in to Manchester United midway inside the Wolves half, which Mata leaves for Wan-Bissaka to take.
I think that will cause a big problem with the mascot here at Manchester United. Fred the Red, isn't it? I think, you know, Fredge the Reg. I'm not sure, it don't work.
Yeah, I think there are other ways of telling them apart. Wolverhampton Wanderers have a man down. That man is Diogo Jota, who's only just back from injury, and João Moutinho is also down holding his ankle, and he was just caught by one of those stretching Wan-Bissaka challenges. Interesting to get your take really on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's in the top 3 Premier League tacklers this season, which I'm sure you would have been back in your day. He did produce a wonderful cross for a Rashford-headed goal against Newcastle here on Boxing Day, but that's the side of his game where he's behind the Reece James and the Trent Alexander-Arnolds. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's definitely not your typical modern-day fullback. As I say, all his good work comes in his own half, and that's what, sadly, when he's in the team for United, they lack something going forward with him.
Traore has won the ball from Maguire on the edge of the Manchester United penalty area, but the United skipper has got it back, and not just that, he's won the throw-in for Manchester United, about 20 metres from the corner flag on the left-hand side. Traore is down and holding his left shoulder, and something in my memory tells me that he dislocated his shoulder not too long in a game, and then it was put back in, and he played on. But he's holding his left shoulder, and it all looks very, very awkward. The Wolverhampton Wanderers medical team are racing onto the field. We're just getting a replay of the incident. There was a little bit of holding by Maguire. Could he pull that? Yeah, he could have pulled that out of its socket, couldn't he?
Yeah, it looks that way. If you're telling me he's got a history of that, the way he stopped, and he seemed to know, just by his body language, exactly what had happened to himself.
You're going to tell me you had your dislocated shoulder put back in and played on many times during your career? It must be very bad. It's never happened to me.
No, I've never had a problem with my shoulders at all, that's why I've managed to retain my beauty over the years as a player.
Beautiful shoulders. Stuart Pearce, well known for them throughout the game, but it's the left shoulder of Adama Traore that we're all a little bit concerned about at the moment, and the medical team are just providing some manipulation. I can't look at things like this, Stuart. He's having his shoulder put back into joint. This would be 3 weeks in hospital for me. I wouldn't entertain visitors for the first fortnight if I dislocated my shoulder.
No, I'm quite happy looking at someone else having their shoulder put back in, but certainly not my own.
It was against Tottenham Hotspur in December that he did suffer a dislocated shoulder during the game, and he did have it put back in and played on, and that looks very much as if what he's going to do today. He's a very talented, skillful attacking player, Adama Traore, but he's built like an NFL player.
Yeah, isn't he just?
And he can look after himself. I wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him. His muscles were in places where we can't even talk about it this time of the evening.
No.
Here live on TalkSport.
No, listen, I pride myself on a wonderful set of shoulders, but his are quite sensational.
Yours are beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. He is Lindelof on the halfway line, and believe it or not, Traore is playing on. Manchester United with Maguire forward to Shaw, midway inside the Wolverhampton Wanderers half of the field. Still 0-0 here at Old Trafford. Shaw making some progress, gets it back from Pereira, and it just wouldn't stick with him, and Doherty was able to clear, and down goes Jimenez. And it was a rather barging, rash challenge by Lindelof inside the Wolves half of the field. Cheap free kick, really. And Wolves have some relief and release with that throw in just that free kick just outside the centre circle.
Yeah, it's a tight affair, really. Not too many clear-cut chances. I think Wolves have probably looked slightly the slicker of the two going forward.
I thought we were going to get a bit of musical interlude there. That for 1 second, was that guess this tune?
It was,
because I didn't get it. We only got
the intro.
2 notes. Yeah. Suddenly the PA system here at Old Trafford blared out a subliminal second of music, but not even the greatest expert on UK pop music, Stuart Pearce, has been able to identify the track. We need a bit more, sorry.
We do. I thought it was more at the start to a spaghetti western, actually, a tune from the good, the bad and the ugly.
Jota with a good cross for Wolverhampton Wanderers across the Manchester United penalty area. Nobody can get on the end of it. I know you like to play these games. Wolverhampton Wanderers have not won at Old Trafford since early February 1980. John Richards and Andy Gray were their front two that day, and over the half-time interval, Stuart Pearce is going to tell us what the number one single in the UK was in early February 1980. We'll give you 15 minutes to think about that, because it is half-time. We've had a goalless half here at Old Trafford, an even game. Here on TalkSport it remains Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Manchester United coming forward from the restart, attacking the Stretford end of Old Trafford in the second half. We are sitting on the same side of this wonderful stadium as the television cameras, if you're trying to visualise the scene on this wintry night. Manchester United playing from right to left as we look at it, in red shirts, white shorts and black socks. Wolverhampton Wanderers in all black shirts and shorts with their old gold socks, defending that goal away to our left-hand side. It's goalless in the first half, and precious few clear-cut openings. Manchester United coming forward with Victor Lindelof to Aaron Wan-Bissaka down the right-hand side, midway inside the Wolves half of the field, exchanging passes with Dan James. going back to Bruno Fernandes. Manchester United playing a 4-2-3-1 formation with De Gea in goal. Back four of Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Shaw, and then Pereira and Fred as the holders in midfield. Fernandes playing just behind Martial, with Mata to his right and James to his left. Wan-Bissaka coming forward on the right hand side in a crossing position, and it's tidied up at the near post by Johnny, and Jota tries to keep it in on the left hand touchline and loses possession to Bruno Fernandes. Now just outside the Wolves penalty area, slipped into James, trying to turn. Mata still on the edge of the penalty area, challenged by Saiz. It's throw into Manchester United down by the corner flag on the right hand side. Wan-Bissaka takes it, Mata returns the ball to him on the touchline. The pair exchanges passes again, but Wan-Bissaka can't keep the ball in play, and that will be a goal kick to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have Rui Patricio in goal. The back three of Bolly, Cody and Saiz, then a midfield four of Doherty, Neves, Moutinho and Johnny, with Traore on the right, Jota on the left and Jimenez in the number 9 shirt. Stuart Pearce is alongside me here on TalkSport this evening. Manchester United forcing the issue at the start of the second half, but they haven't attacked with any true menace or devil as yet.
No, they haven't. As I say, Wan-Bissaka's offered nothing going in that forward area as such, and I can also probably say the same about James and Mata. Mata's not been bad. He's come inside a little bit and played the odd one too early on, but the front line, the front four really have offered very little for United.
Manchester United do have a free kick. Bonny's foot was dangerously high as he challenged Martial, but the free kick is no more than 4 paces in from the left-hand touchline. It's a good 20 metres outside the penalty area on the left-hand side. It's a crossing position, really. And Bruno Fernandes is a very sweet striker of the ball. Hands on hips, runs over the ball, leaves it actually for Fred to bend into the penalty area. It's not a very good one. Adama Traore is able to volley it away. As far as Wan-Bissaka, back to Bruno Fernandes again, out to Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. Just doesn't carry really the attacking potential of some of the better right backs in the Premier League. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, forward ball by Bruno Fernandes is charged down by Moutinho, who sends Jota racing away down the left hand side, and that's where Fred's cover is excellent. He just managed to hold Jota up and make a challenge, and Manchester United get a free kick. Forward comes Harry Maguire to Luke Shaw on the left hand side into the Wolves half of the field. Pereira's pass is wayward. Traore gets it back. Neves looking to get Traore on his way, but well seen by Maguire, who is tripped, and Manchester United have a free kick on the halfway line. Nuno Espirito Santo was very close to all of that and disputed the decision with a throw of the arm. Manchester United come forward again. Stuart.
Sorry, Clive. I think United have had a change of formation slightly here, or certainly personnel. Same formation, but they've got Pereira on the left-hand side now, James on the right-hand side, and Mata playing as that number 10, and they've sort of got Fred as the holder with Fernandes slightly deeper.
Now here's an opportunity for Wolverhampton Wanderers breaking forward. A little flick there from Jota trying to get Jimenez in. There's a handball appeal against Wan-Bissaka as he makes a very timely challenge. Manchester United were undone there momentarily, but Wan-Bissaka covered from full back, and the ball just kind of reared up in an unfortunate way against his frame. The referee is just having this reviewed. It was a dangerous little combination between Jota and Jimenez, but the check is complete. The Wan-Bissaka appears to have got away with it. We're just having an old look at it. That was all a little untidy. There was not intent on Wan-Bissaka's part.
It was, but he was so casual in his defending and his clearance, and sometimes with players especially, what he does in the advanced areas.
Martial into Mata inside the penalty area, run off it well though by Cody, who clears his lines. Carry on, Stuart.
Yeah, because what he's done in the advanced areas has eroded his confidence a little bit, I think. All of a sudden his defending, which is his ace card, starts to suffer a touch.
You turn the clock back 2 years ago, he was still waiting for his senior debut. and he was the subject of a £50 million transfer 16 months later. He's had to grow up pretty quickly. He is just 22 years of age. You were 21 when you made your debut for Coventry, but it was in your mid-20s you really became established as an England player. It can take time. Yeah?
Well, I think it hasn't taken time with him. I think he's an outstanding player and has had a very, very good season at United. It's just he's being asked to do that little bit more on the ball, and that's part of his game he'll have to improve a touch.
Jimenez on the halfway line for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Square to Moutinho. Good ball to Jota. Wolves have looked good on the counter-attack. Jota's 10 paces outside the penalty area. Comes back to Moutinho. Out to the left-hand side where Johnny has got forward. He can't make any progress, so he just strokes it back to Saiz. And Wolves are a very mature and composed side. They're prepared to take their time, wait their moment in a game. They've had some very impressive scores on their travels this season. Winners at Manchester City. They drew 0-0 at Leicester. They only lost to a disputed goal at Anfield by 1-0. Jota coming forward midway inside the Manchester United half, has broken the challenges and gone onto the box, and still Diogo Jota, and eventually he goes down under pressure from Maguire. His shot was half hit and didn't really stretch. De Gea, any suggestion of a penalty?
No, I don't think there was any from the player either. I think, he went on an incredible run and just twisted and turned and was amongst players and just lost his foot in a touch.
Wolves coming forward again with Doherty on the right hand side, just outside the Manchester United penalty area. Pereira goes back to cover him. He finds Neves 10 paces outside the box. Doherty again. Neves once more. Manchester United have got plenty of cover, and Wolves go all the way back again to the halfway line. Cody just quickens his pace and carries the ball forward, then plays it to Saiz. Now out to the left hand side. Johnny all the way back to Saiz again, and then Cody with another searching diagonal, picks out Doherty, chests it down on the touchline, but then presents it to Luke Shaw, and Shaw plays it to Maguire on the edge of his own penalty area. I did set you a poser in the first half, Stu. We'd better clear that up. Melise was the scorer of that last Wolverhampton Wanderers winner here in February 1980, and in just a moment, when Manchester United have resolved this attack, I'm going to ask you which two-tone ska song was number one in the UK singles chart, which is your chosen specialist subject in February 1980. Pereira coming forward, edge of the Wolverhampton Wanderers penalty area, held up well though by Doherty. The clue is totally confused, Stuart, now. Yeah, it was.
I was going to go for Ghost Town by the Specials.
Well, you got the right band. To Miss Dameron Hall, you're on the right track. It's the signature. The title of the song is "The Story of Your Life." Another clue as Pereira comes forward for Manchester United, just outside the Wolves penalty area. Too much, too young.
Oh, least we forget
when you should be having fun with me. Full time in the Six Nations at Dublin. Ireland 19, Scotland 12 was the final score. Ireland 19, Scotland 12. We have this little feature with Sam and Stuart, usually the number one single of a particular time. Last time Wolves won at Old Trafford, February 1980, the Specials.
I've got to say, Clive, without the clue, I was going Gino. Dexys Midnight Runners.
Oh, yeah. Jimenez has brought down, and the first yellow card of the game has been shown to Bruno Fernandes. Well, he's the first statistic of the match for a tactical foul as Jimenez went forward, and he does have a poor disciplinary record, although that wasn't exactly a wild Pearce-esque challenge.
I've got to say, there has been a lot of professional fouls in this game, and probably Wolves have probably committed more than United, I would say, on that, but it is certainly a feature of the game, stopping attacks early on.
10 minutes of the second half gone. We're live on TalkSport, the third of our 3 live Premier League commentaries on game day, and it's still Manchester United 0, Wolves 0. Wan-Bissaka coming forward for Manchester United, but being held up well on the far right-hand touchline. There's a bit of a tussle for the ball, and eventually Manchester United emerge with it, and Mata feeds it in from this new number 10 position, and he has been caught here by Neves, and Neves has now been shown a yellow card, and Manchester United have a free kick only about 8 paces outside the penalty area and very, very central down at the Stretford end. Ruben Neves is cautioned.
This is one of those, I think. Neves has slid across to try and block the shot, and with the follow-through from Mata, he's kicked Neves. So the question is, who's fouled who there? Yeah, he studs her up as well, so no, referee's got that right.
Now, are we going to see Bruno Fernandes have another blast? Rather like a Wolves free kick in the first half, it's almost too central to be ideal. The kicker isn't going to have any real angle. The wall is forming inside the D, so it's only 12 paces outside the penalty area, the position of the free kick. Fred is standing over it, who's not particularly distinguished himself with a couple of recent free kick efforts, one in the very final moments at the Etihad on Wednesday.
There's only one man taking this, and that's Bruno. He's over the top of the ball, and he could put himself in folklore.
The stage is set for Bruno Fernandes, strikes the free kick well. It is on target. It caused a good save by Rui Patricio, no more than that in truth. Good free kick though.
It was a very good free kick, and I think we've got to get a bit of credit to the goalkeeper there. He started moving a little bit and probably prejudged and pre-guessed the direction it was going. Decent strike though.
We are in the 58th minute of the game here, and many of the fans here inside Old Trafford are standing up now and applauding. One of the ironies of the winter break is that the anniversary, February the 6th, 1958, of the Munich air crash. This is going to be the closest match to it, and as Wolves come forward, that moment which is very much at the legend of this club. A tragic evening on the icy runway is being recognised. Edwards, Byrne, Taylor, Coleman, Whelan, Jones, Bent, Pegg and the other victims of the Munich air disaster will never be forgotten here at Manchester United. Remembered here the 23 fatalities of that terrible night by this massive crowd. Manchester United coming forward with James just inside the penalty area, a cross which is deflected. That moment of tribute was advertised and expected. I have to say that in another 10 minutes time, another pre-arranged moment may or may not occur. It has been suggested that in the 68th minute, any Manchester United fans wishing to register their displeasure with the Glazer family control and running of this football club should stage a mass walkout. So report on that and when it happens. It is 0-0. It is a sense of frustration inside Old Trafford. Pereira on the ball, coming back to Fred midway inside the Wolves half, square to Wan-Bissaka with a chance to go forward. It's ghosted past the challenge and found Juan Mata with a chance, and that's not very far away. Short back lift, hit on the turn by Juan Mata, bouncing towards the left-hand post of a diving Rui Patricio, but just passing the wrong side of that post for Manchester United's liking.
Yeah, good play there by Mata, just swiveled on it, and I think he felt as though that was on its way in. If there was a slight touch by Cody there, it would have took it closer. As luck happens, he managed to just pull his body out of the way.
Mata scored a lovely dinked winner down at that end of Old Trafford here just last month when the two teams met in an FA Cup replay. Almost striking first against Wolverhampton Wanderers again. We have had an hour now here at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 0, Wolves 0 on TalkSport with Now TV. Tomorrow you can watch Burnley versus Arsenal and Tottenham versus Manchester City with a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass for one-off payment of £9.99. Shaw for Manchester United, clipped into the Wolverhampton Wanderers penalty area, runs all the way through to Wan-Bissaka, down on the dead ball line, just in from the corner flag, exchanges passes with Dan James, comes back to Bruno Fernandes, immediately coming under pressure from Jota. out to the right-hand side of Wan-Bissaka. Again, just trying to pick his moment to find a cross. Can't quite get outside Johnny. So Bruno Fernandes knocks it in, headed by Bowley and then by Doherty. Clear the Wolverhampton Wanderers penalty area. Big roar goes up from the Stretford end as Manchester United attack that end with Pereira on the ball on the left-hand side, finding Fred just outside the penalty area. Rolled square again to Wan-Bissaka, crossed in but scuffed in low. It was a poor cross, easily cut out by Jota. It's just not his speciality, the crossing of the ball. He'll take a throw in for Manchester United. 20 metres from the corner flag on the right hand side. A little bit of just extra vocal encouragement, but it has been a muted atmosphere inside this massive packed stadium again this evening. Manchester United just can't light the fires at the moment. Fred on the ball, halfway line, still 0-0. Shaw 10 metres inside the Wolves half, just trotting forward, plays it to Fred, all the way back to Maguire on the halfway line. You start to wonder what changes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can make from the bench, but they're familiar changes. They're Jesse Lingard or Mason Greenwood basically.
It's amazing when you think what United had up front, you know, with Van Nistelrooy and Cole and York and all of those players, and you're looking through the bench and what they've got up front with the lack of punch at this moment in time.
Well, in the treatment room they've got Marcus Rashford and Paul Pogba, let's not forget, and indeed Scott McTominay. I mean, three key players. Traore was fouled. He wanted advantage there because he'd wriggled away from a couple of challenges, but Portini had already blown his whistle. It is currently 0-0 here at Old Trafford for the latest odds. You could go to the Betfair Exchange, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now Manchester United are 3.5. The draw is 2.04. Wolves are 4.1 for the win. That's on the Betfair Exchange. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18 plus. Please do look at begamblerware.org. Nuno Espirito Santo unhappy with the way that the referee pulled play up when Traore was about to go clear, has said something which Portini didn't like and has been shown a yellow card. Now the Wolverhampton Wanderers manager on the touchline. Here is Traore, who's been on the fringes of the game so far. When he has been in the match, he's been effective, but he hasn't been in the match a lot. Now he's got an opportunity to come forward as Jimenez feeds him. He's on the right-hand touchline, boxed in by Fred and by Shaw, but he's found a cross. Jota couldn't quite control it. If anything, diverted it away from Johnny, and James can counter. Johnny catches up with him and bundles him to the floor, but wins the ball. Referee waves play on. Now Manchester United are unhappy with the man in the middle. But they have the ball with Wan-Bissaka. Mata midway inside his own half. Forward towards Martial. Asked a bit too much of him and he pushes Saiz to the floor. And Wolverhampton Wanderers get a free kick, and the temperature is rising inside Old Trafford. 20 minutes of the second half played.
I'll tell you, one of the changes I would make if I was Man United, obviously you got Lingard and Greenwood that could come on and affect things up front. I think they might be better suited putting Williams at right back, you know, and allowing him to get up and down, because defensively there's not a massive threat from Wolverhampton on that side of the pitch, but I think if he could get forward and start supplying things.
I don't think it needs me to add another voice of condemnation to what happened outside Ed Woodward's house the other night, to denounce the bonfire songs. They don't represent the true feelings of Manchester United fans. They're criminal acts, they're abusive rhetoric, but they are the poisonous tip of the same frustrations as much with the detached world of fantasy millionaire corporate football as anything. They are growing here. Mata coming forward though for Manchester United. Forward towards James, forced wide and outside of the penalty area by Cody, and Saiz is able to clear. Jimenez holds the ball up midway inside his own half, goes back to Ruben Neves. Now Traore, immediately tagged by Shaw. Good challenge by Fred, who surges forward but can't get clear of Ruben Neves. Has fed Pereira though inside the box. It just wouldn't happen for Mata. It's come for Luke Shaw on the edge of the penalty area. Fred with a shot, charged down by the arm of Moutinho, but very much struck ball to arm, and Traore can try to counter for Wolverhampton Wanderers. 3 in the break. One of them, Jota now, right-hand side of the penalty area. Manchester United a bit short of cover, but Jota's cross isn't the best. Played back by Jimenez to Ruben Neves. Jimenez again, edge of the penalty area. Manchester United haven't really regrouped here. There's an opportunity still inside the box. They're trying to set up Traore on the edge of the penalty area. His shot is charged down by Shaw. Jota again didn't really make the most of the opening there. Manchester United looked a little bedraggled and a little weary as Wolverhampton Wanderers countered them.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit of a lazy pass from Traore. He drove through the middle and you thought something might happen, and he just pushed Jota too far wide really to be effective on the ball.
Good challenge by Shaw and Traore. He'll feel a lot better for that. Bruno Fernandes forward to Andreas Pereira. Left hand side, midway inside the Wolves half, but Bole is again far more determined, far more positive and aggressive in the way that he contested that ball. Wins it back and then plays a very, very poor pass to Maguire. It remains at the midpoint in the second half. Wolves 0, Manchester United 0. Bruno Fernandes with a shot, and that one was awkward. It bounced in front of Rui Patricio and he juggled it and fumbled it, and it's gone behind for a corner kick. And Bruno Fernandes is not frightened to take on a goalkeeper from range.
No, I've really liked his attitude today. He wants to get on the ball, he wants to have efforts at goal, and he's got a very good strike on him. And well, Patricio felt as though that was too comfortable and nice and easy, and just took his eye off the ball.
Portuguese League's Player of the Year for the last 2 seasons. We're having another look at the incident when Fred shot earlier and it was blocked by a jumping Moutinho with part of his arm, but nothing deliberate about it. Hit in again by Bruno Fernandes. His arm was up towards shoulder height, it had to be said, so it's maybe worth a shout. Shaw having to cover as Wolves try to counter. It's been difficult for Jota today. He hasn't been at his very best on his return to the team. And Manchester United can come forward again. James, right hand side, running at Johnny on the outside. Finds a cross, but it's not a good one. Spoon high and too long. Doherty has time to bring it down and clear his lines. Not a good clearance, but the ball was out of play. Manchester United have a throw in. Bruno Fernandes takes it. Pereira just outside the penalty area, left hand side. Now breaking into the Wolves penalty area, Andreas Pereira, but he's well challenged by Ruben Neves. Traore on the edge of his own penalty area, tries to dribble his way out of trouble and does so successfully. Wonderful burst by Adama Traore up to the halfway line now, surrounded by red shirts. He's found Raul Jimenez inside the penalty area. Difficult angle. Took on De Gea at the near post, and De Gea just put it up and over his crossbar for a corner. Wonderful eye-catching burst from Adama Traore.
Yeah, it was. He's gone past 3 or 4 players, brushed them aside, laid a great ball to Jimenez, and he had one thing on his mind: just steady himself and get a good contact on target. De Gea equal to it, but it almost shows the difference between the two teams. Wolverhampton have got someone that can go past 2 or 3 players. I'm not sure I've seen that in any of the United players this afternoon.
Well, I did mention a moment or so ago that Diogo Jota's return from injury has been a little late, a little rusty, and now he does give way to the man he's replaced, the man who started the last 7 matches, the young Portuguese striker Pedro Neto is now on, will play from the left hand side. But Wolves have a corner meanwhile from the right hand side. João Moutinho will take it, driven in towards the near post, where it's headed away by Bruno Fernandes and controlled well by James. Manchester United looking to counter. James trying to pick a pass and can't do that, and on his way back to defence, Saiz is able to intercept and Wolves have it back. Neither side has really controlled the game at any stage, but there's just something a little bit more measured, something a little bit more together about Wolverhampton Wanderers, which leaves you with a shadow of a feeling that they're maybe the most likely here, Stuart Pearce.
I think they look the team that are more polished, more rounded and more fluent in their football.
20 minutes left to play. We're live on TalkSport's game day. It's Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 on TalkSport with Nissan commercial vehicles built to deliver. Big shout for handball is heeded by the official, and Manchester United have a free kick, and we also have another yellow card. We've got Mason Greenwood imminent. The yellow card's been shown to João Moutinho. Manchester United have the ball with Shaw. They have passed the 68th minute without a mass walkout. Pereira with a shot, which is well fielded by Rui Patricio. And it looks like the vast majority of the Manchester United fans are sticking here with the team and turning down that invitation to show their displeasure with the Glazer regime. They have now been the controlling interest in the club for nearly 15 years. So Andreas Pereira is the man who makes way for 18-year-old Mason Greenwood, who came off at half-time at Manchester City on Wednesday with a slight injury, but now comes on as a substitute. Wolverhampton Wanderers have another free kick, 15 metres inside the Manchester United half. Fred, you guessed it, on Traore. There was a Wolves-Spurs game in December when the Tottenham players were basically taking it in turns to foul Traore. It was the only way that they could stop him, share the fouls around and share the yellow cards around. And Traore limps away from the latest foul, and he's going to soldier on. He weren't with us in the first half. He seemed to pop his shoulder out and have it put back in by the physio and carry on. Saiss forward to Jimenez, turned away by Lindelof, one back by Johnny, and now Neto, edge of the penalty area. Oh, fabulous challenge by Wan-Bissaka. That is what he's so good at. Dived in from an unlikely position, but it's been lost by Bruno Fernandes, and the curling shot by João Moutinho is ambitious and is high and wide.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka there lost possession of the ball, took the wrong option, and then just showed with a recovery challenge that was outstanding, and then lost possession again. Real two sides to his game there are.
Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. We've had 73 minutes of play, 73 minutes of fairly ordinary play in truth. Greenwood forward to Wan-Bissaka, midway inside the Wolves half of the field. Greenwood back on the ball, plays it back to Bruno Fernandes. Good ball into Martial, just outside the penalty area. Assesses his options and finds Shaw, delivered in towards Greenwood, who tried to improvise a finish. The ball flew up in the air. Shaw keeps it alive for Mata, edge of the penalty area. Luke Shaw again there trying to protect the ball from Traore, can't do so. Ruben Neves brings the ball away for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Goes back to Doherty just outside his penalty area. Doherty has kicked the ball out of play because Traore is still struggling with an injury, still shaken up from the last foul by Fred 2 or 3 minutes ago. He is in the wars a bit here, Adama Traore. Referee just checking with him. It seems to be his left ankle which is the problem. He is going to carry on because Manchester United have played the ball out. Paul Tierney is inviting Traore to leave the field and then return, and there's all kinds of confusion here. Traore is being ordered to leave the field in order to come back on, such is the ridiculous nature of the protocol. Now he goes down injured so he can receive some treatment and make it all official. And this all started because Doherty kicked the ball out of play because he was concerned about Traore's fitness.
I've got to say, ridiculous refereeing there. The physio has not come on to treat Traore, and then as he's walking off, the referee's told him to have a lie down, we'll get the physio on.
We are seeing pictures of Wolverhampton Wanderers deadline signing Daniel Podence, who's a 5'5" right winger who was signed from Olympiacos on deadline day for £17 million. He is Portuguese. He has played in the Champions League this season. He actually scored against Tottenham Hotspur in the Champions League in September. 24-year-old former Portuguese under-21 international who was actually at Sporting Lisbon with Bruno Fernandes for a spell. Bruno got his debut from the start. Podence is now going to come on as a replacement for Adama Traore, who is sufficiently shaken up and injured to be in need of being substituted. So Laura Woods, his favourite player in the whole wide world, has left the field. Laura has not left the stadium, I'm happy to say. She's going to stay, and she is going to host the phone-in a little bit later. No walkout from Wolves. Manchester United coming forward with Wan-Bissaka midway inside the Wolverhampton Wanderers half of the field. Back to Lindelof. Fred with a poor pass. Still to come on 7:30. Game day, your verdict. It does what it says on the tin. Laura and Darren Bent are merely the tin openers of your verdict on whatever you've seen and heard today. 08717 223344. Book your call, reach your verdict. Let us all know. See if Laura and Darren agree with each other, which would be a first. Game day, your verdict coming up after the live commentary game, and it is still just about alive. Mata, edge of the penalty area for Manchester United. Fed into Greenwood, and Martial has taken away from Mata, if anything, edge of the penalty area. Goes back to Fred. Out to Mata, just outside the penalty area. Back to Fred once more. Wolves have regrouped. Bruno Fernandes on the ball. Wan-Bissaka right-hand side. Chance to cross. Goes on the outside. Finds a cross. It's a better cross too. Headed away by Connor Cody. These two playing for 5th place in the Premier League table. The winner would go into 5th at the moment. That's the position held by Sheffield United. Edge of the penalty area. Martial not strong enough against Bolly again. And away it comes from Doherty, and that's a poor ball from the Wolves right wing back this time. Fred square to Mata. 15 metres outside the penalty area. Fred once more, but Manchester United playing in front of Wolves. Greenwood going for goal himself, deflected. Wolves would say that in the end by Rui Patricio. I think it came off either Cody or Mata as they closed in on the shot from Greenwood, and Rui Patricio had to change direction in order to make the stop.
I'll tell you what, magnificent goalkeeping there. It took a hell of a deflection, it really did. Greenwood set his sights on goal, and, well, is it 2 deflections in fact, and he managed to divert himself from one direction to the other and get hold of the ball.
Came initially off the knee of Willy Bolly, but then off maybe Mata closing in, and Rui Patricio going one way had to check and go back the other and keep the ball out.
I think if you look probably about 30 miles to the west of here at Trent Alexander, if he had the freedom of this pitch, he would have probably put maybe 6-7 telling crosses into the box at this stage, and I think that's probably the difference between United and Liverpool at the moment, you know, that bit more creativity in different parts of the pitch.
Making comparisons between Manchester United and Liverpool, something only a man of the courage of Stuart Pearce can do. Yellow card for Lindelof for a foul. Free kick for Wolves. Floated into the penalty area. Oh, there was a free header there for Saïd. Came to a little awkwardly. He almost got in front of it and had to adjust and try to generate the power himself as it looped in, but he wasn't being marked.
No, it come down with so much loft that he, as you say, he got beyond the ball in fact, but poor defending from United.
Yeah, they pushed up too late and didn't catch Saïd off. He was definitely onside, and 6 yards out he had a headed chance. He got too much of it and headed it up. He almost needed to mishead that. He needed it to miss it and come off his shoulder, and it might have gone in.
An Alan Cork skimmer at the near post is what you're talking about.
He had the hair loss to perfect it. Wan-Bissaka coming forward for Manchester United. Midway inside the Wolves half of the field, it's still 0-0. 11 minutes remaining. Wan-Bissaka getting on the outside of Neto, shrugging him off, finding a cross, finding a corner as the ball's deflected behind by Johnny Otto. Good, determined, plucky play there by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Corner to Manchester United on the right in front of the Stretford end. Still a full Stretford end, still a full Old Trafford. No active protests from the Manchester United fans tonight, only a lovely show of remembrance for those who perished at Munich in 1958. Mata, back to Bruno Fernandes. It was a studied pass and it was a clever pass, but one he couldn't quite execute. A return pass from Mata, which was intercepted by Neto. Up to Jimenez on the halfway line. Just inside the Manchester United half now, left-hand side, and Jimenez skips away from Bruno Fernandes and finds some good acceleration and finds a corner kick too. Really rousing run that by Raul Jimenez, corner to Wolves.
Yeah, good play, good slick play once again by Wolves, good build-up, going through the thirds, good passing, and have the opportunity now to pop one in the box.
He has been linked with Manchester United, Raul Jimenez, but then I'm probably the only person in the football industry who hasn't been linked with Manchester United. in the last month. He's at an interesting stage in his career. He's never played better, but he will be 29 in May, the Mexican international. He's not a young centre-forward. He's a very good one, very potent one. 20 goals this season. Waiting in the penalty areas. Moutinho plays a short corner to Neto. Back out to Joao Moutinho. Now Johnny. And they try to work something between them there, and they manage to force the ball back via deflection to Moutinho, and Martial clears his lines at the near post from that Wolves corner routine. And they're good at those. They came up with a couple of really good ones against Liverpool in their last game at Molineux, but that one didn't really come off for them, and they have to make do with the throw in.
I think Jimenez has led the line well today. I really do. I think if you'd have put him in United's front line, they would certainly benefit by his hold up play and movement.
And he has been scoring winning goals just recently. Capped the comeback against Southampton in Wolves' last but one game. Raul Jimenez, 20 for the season, 3 in his last 2 games. And one goal has looked capable of winning this game almost from the kick-off, but as we tick into the 83rd minute, it's pretty certain that one would win it now. Difficult to think back over the night as to one clear, glaring chance that either side have missed. Jimenez trying to play the ball on, thumps it against Fred. It bounces kindly from Martial. Mata to Martial on the left-hand side. Good combination between the two, but Mata comes under pressure, just manages to find Bruno Fernandes. Now Lindelof forward to Mata again. Quick feet from Mata, feeds Wan-Bissaka, who surges forward almost to the edge of the penalty area. Dan James back to Mata, who peels away from goal. Groans of dissatisfaction as he floats it into Greenwood. Hooked away though by Johnny. Only as far as Fred. Bruno Fernandes back to Fred, midway inside the Wolves half. Out to the right hand side where Mata waits. Wan-Bissaka again. Now Fred thought about a shot, instead plays it into James, edge of the penalty area. Martial, he might think about a shot, lost the ball under his feet. Not had a great night, Anthony Martial. Luke Shaw dives in and brings down Podence, and that's another yellow card, this time for the Manchester United left back, Luke Shaw. Welcome to English football, Daniel Podence.
Frustration there from the United fans. Martial giving the ball away on the edge of the box. We've just had a change round now and put Martial on the left flank with Greenwood down the middle. See if we can get some more involvement within the game.
Plenty more live football in the week ahead across the TalkSport network. 3 live midweek FA Cup replays Tuesday night here on TalkSport. Liverpool versus Shrewsbury Town Tuesday night on TalkSport 2. Oxford United versus Newcastle United Wednesday night here on TalkSport. Tottenham Hotspur versus Southampton, all live and in your ears with Mark Saggers, Sam Massaface, Jim Proudfoot, Ian Danter and co. Wolves coming forward. Doherty just outside the Manchester United penalty area. Podence, diminutive figure in bright orange boots, plays it back to Neves, now peels away and looks to find a cross. It's into the near post where Doherty, who carries such a goal threat, was lurking, and it needed Maguire to come across and cover, and Wolves have a corner.
Very good defensive play by Maguire there. As I say, Doherty got in the box, drove in at the near post, and Maguire's presence of mind managed to snuff out any problems.
Corner kick on the right hand side to Wolves. Corner which Joao Moutinho will take right in front of the travelling Old Gold Army in that corner of Old Trafford between the old scoreboard end and the main stand. Joao Moutinho will take it from the right hand side for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Over the heads and in towards Saiz. A really good header by Maguire in front of him. Back in there by Pollens. Jimenez flags up. It was saved anyway by De Gea. It was a really good chance for Jimenez. Flag went up rather belatedly, but it did go up, and I don't think it would have counted. You never know. In the VAR era, it would have been checked, but it won't be, because De Gea saved it anyway.
It was a good save as well. He showed that side of the goal.
Wan-Bissaka coming forward for Manchester United. Plays it to Greenwood. Now in the heart of the Wolves half, it's Fred. Gets the ball back. It's a loose and lazy pass from Martial. It's really starting to annoy a few people. And Wolves can counter. And Neto plays it forward. And Jimenez is chasing gamely, and Wolves have got 5 forward in this counter, and Jimenez has seemed too tired to find a cross. And Wolves may be a little exposed now as Fred comes forward down that right hand side to the pacey Dan James. James looks up, starting to run at Saiz, gets on the outside of him. It's a good cross, but it's just a little too long for Mata, who catches up with it sufficiently to keep it in, down by the corner flag. Back to Martial. Now Shaw. He's just tumbled by Neto, and a free kick has been given. It's about 10 paces outside the penalty area, and on the left-hand side for Manchester United, attacking the Stretford end. 4 minutes remaining, 0-0.
I think United are about to make a double substitution at the moment, and both teams, as they stand on the pitch, look as though they're looking forward to their winter break and putting their feet up.
Diego Dalot and Jesse Lingard are being readied for Manchester United, but not until after this free kick has been taken. Dalot and Lingard will be the second and third United substitutes. Free kick just from the left-hand side, crossing position. Bruno Fernandes runs over it. It's taken by Fred. Hooked towards the far side. Maguire tries to head it on. Maguire with a shot across the face of goal. It's a great piece of keeping by Rui Patricio, because Maguire was wide on the angle edge of the 6-yard box, and Rui Patricio was very positive, raced off his line, put Maguire under pressure and smothered his shot after Lindelof had managed to head the ball onto him. Corner to Manchester United right-hand side. Good work first by Rui Patricio and then by Doherty, who actually got the ball clear. And here come the changes. Dalot and Lingard are coming on for Juan Mata and I think Dan James. James has gone off behind the goal on the Stretford end. So here comes the corner. Dalot is a big 6-footer, so a little bit more aerial presence. He's inside the penalty area with the number 20 on his back, along with Maguire and Lindelof. Corner which Fred will take from the right-hand side with his left foot. Referee just stopping play to have a word with Greenwood, who's doing a bit of pushing and shoving on the edge of the 6-yard box. Ticking towards the 89th minute. Taken by Fred into the near post. Came off the head of Cody, headed forward again. Rui Patricio trying to smuggle it clear. Lindelof keeps it alive. Maguire's there, but it's knocked away from Martial by Saiz. Shaw trying to keep it alive, has lost possession, and a chance perhaps for Johnny to set up a counter-attack. Across comes Wan-Bissaka with a well-timed challenge. Managed to get to it ahead of Neto, and just in the nick of time halts that Wolves break.
That is a part of his game that's outstanding, Wan-Bissaka. The timing of his tackles. Could have got that horribly wrong. Well played.
If he was an NFL player, he'd be on the defence team rather than the offence team. Bruno Fernandes with a searching ball into the penalty area, headed away by Saiz. Lingard trying to catch up with it, can't do so. Johnny hits it high down the field. Lindelof starts to turn back towards his own goal, but under pressure from Jimenez has to go the other way and find Fred. Ticking towards the last of the 90 minutes. Shaw on the left-hand touchline for Manchester United, midway inside Wolves territory. Maguire coming forward, still 0-0. Maguire out to the right-hand side. Wan-Bissaka. Rather limp finish to game day at the moment here on TalkSport, but Dalot trying to do something about that on the edge of the Wolves penalty area. Robbed though by Ruben Neves. Cleared as far as Bruno Fernandes. Now Lingard. Forward towards Luke Shaw. Crosses in. It wasn't the best of crosses, a little bit low, and Wolves were able to deal with it. But Fred has won it back from Manchester United, who continue to come forward. Leander Dendoncker is being readied by Wolves for these closing exchanges. Bruno Fernandes plays it into Martial, edge of the penalty area, run off the ball again, this time by Saiz, and Wolves were able to clear their lines through Moutinho, but Wolves are not really interested in getting forward now. They're happy with what they've got. They haven't kept too many clean sheets in the Premier League this season, just the 4. They're on the verge of another. We're about to find out how much added time. The answer is 4 minutes. The 90 minutes are up, 4 more to come. Wan-Bissaka, right-hand touchline for Manchester United, can't control the ball, beats himself really, and the ball rolls out for a throw-in. The exhausted Raul Jimenez is going to give way to Leander Dendoncker. Who was it that said at the start of the game, was it Laura or was it Stuart, that this wasn't going to have a lot of goals this game?
I think it was Laura.
Oh,
to be fair, it certainly was.
So Laura Woods is to blame, and if you want to blame her, you can call 08717 22 33 44 and voice your disgust to her on game day. Your verdict. This follows this commentary with Laura Woods and Darren Bent, TalkSport's own Love Island pair, and they are loosening up, ready for your burning opinions in about 10 minutes' time. Once we've finished with the game here, which remains Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Manchester United have the ball midway inside the Wolves half of the field. Fred square to Shaw. It's been a modest Manchester United performance. It's not been a terrible performance by any means, has it? There just hasn't been any cutting edge, nothing different, no X factor.
No, they've been short of a player to go past somebody, basically, and short of a centre forward to link play up.
Shaw out to the left-hand side, and Dallow just outside the penalty area on his right foot looking for a cross. Shaw plays it back to him. Dallow has to go all the way back to Maguire. He carries it forward, trying to force the issue. Dallow once more playing off on this left-hand touchline. Square inside to Lingard. Square again to Bruno Fernandes. On again to Martial, who's come outside the penalty area. Bruno Fernandes, edge of the penalty area. Greenwood exchanging passes with Martial. That was well defended by Wolves and by Dendoncker, and they can counter-attack now. They've got a chance with Podence. Forward now towards Pedro Neto. 3 forward in the attack. Neto's inside the Manchester United penalty area. He's found a pass on Podence on the turn, and it's blocked by Lindelof and scooped clear by Bruno Fernandes. It was just a sight of goal there for the new Wolves signing, Daniel Podence. Still they come forward with Johnny Otto, held up by Wan-Bissaka. Wolves have a throw in, 10 metres from the corner flag, left hand side. Just looked as if Podence might just steal it there at the end, Stuart.
It did. It was probably at stages like this you wish Traore, from Wolves' point of view, was on the pitch to give him that little bit of cutting edge, but I thought he'd done well, received it well, and just couldn't get a decent strike away.
There are certain games that if you're missing through injury or suspension, you don't half look a good player. And this has been one of those games, and Nemanja Matic and Marcus Rashford and Paul Pogba have looked good players tonight.
Yeah, everyone becomes better when they retire or get injured.
Johnny has the ball down by the corner flag for Wolves on the attack, and has he won a corner kick? No, he hasn't. It's a goal kick. Came last off Johnny Otto as Wan-Bissaka made the challenge. We've had 3 of the 4 added minutes. I think there's a man of the match to choose in about 10 minutes time. You'll be...
I've got it up the sleeve. I've got one.
Yeah, Pogba. I won't ask you for that until after the game. Manchester United with maybe one last attack. Still 0-0 at Old Trafford here on TalkSport. Shaw midway inside the Wolves half of the field to Dallow. Lingard goes down under pressure from Bolly, but it's good pressure from Willy Bolly, whose return has been pretty successful. Manchester United have a throw-in taken quickly by Lingard to Fred. Hooked out to Wan-Bissaka on the right-hand side. Since this will be the last attack of the game, Wan-Bissaka is taking on Johnny down that right-hand side. Can he find a cross? Yes, he can. And there's a chance, and it's just wide from Diogo Dalot. Dallow's header just bounced a foot wide of the left-hand post. I think he was as surprised as anybody that Wan-Bissaka found such a good cross, and Dallow with a stooping header was just wide, as close as either side had been today.
Certainly, and that it took us to the 90-odd minute for Wan-Bissaka to drive down the wing. Basically, all he done was get it at his feet, push it and run. And then he got to the byline and pulled a magnificent crossover, worthy of a winner.
But Diogo Dalot on the end of it couldn't provide that winner. He scored his first Manchester United goal just last weekend. Really good goal too at Tranmere. That would have been a big moment in his Manchester United career. We're playing added time to the added time now, and Wan-Bissaka has it again just inside Wolves territory. But that is your lot, ladies and gentlemen. It hasn't been a lot, in truth. It's been a very modest, mediocre game of Premier League football between two teams who had an opportunity tonight to push closer to Chelsea at the top of the Premier League table, but neither could produce the inspiration to produce a result. They were locked on 34 points at the start of the evening. They're locked on 35 at the end of the evening, still a point behind Sheffield United in 5th place, and perhaps more significantly 6 points behind Chelsea in the last of the Champions League spots. Do join Laura for the phone in and talk about all the other games that have taken place in the Premier League tonight. because, to be very, very honest, Manchester United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 has not provided too many talking points.